There it is. Holy shit. What's up, YouTube? Back again. So in the last video we had all the timing off, everything was taken apart. I ended up off camera getting it back together. It's got all new pulleys, everything's new. I'm about to start this car. I don't know. I fought this pulley here. You almost had to turn it off timing, put the belt on it, and then when you tension it, it pulled it over. So I had to take it off my mark, and I'm kind of leery about that, but everything, you know, my two pulleys were perfectly parallel. I strongly believe it's right, but I wanted to at least test fire this thing before I put all the front end back on, and I want to check this clutch. Kind of been playing with it, rocking things, you know, maybe bringing it out of the cold, broke that clutch free, I don't know, but I'm kind of hopeful. I want to see if maybe it is really stuck in that, what is it, a pinion bearing? I don't know. That bearing that the clutch slides in and out of. So I'm gonna hook up this air box real quick, make sure it's hooked in, and then let's try to start this thing, see what it sounds like. Kind of just, you know, cobble this thing together for now. I want to hear it run before I go much further. And we've got our mass airflow sensor hooked up. We should be getting and reading air. So let's check it. Nothing's gonna get eaten up by a belt. I did put the serpentine belt on. It's got no coolant in it, but we can at least run it for 3 minutes or so. Oh yeah. Let's see what this thing does here. It's in neutral. Oh, it started. It's running. Well, it's kind of running funky, probably because sensors are disconnected. There, now you can kind of see. Yeah, everything's going off, but so if you look, I'm in gear. Pop the clutch. My speedo works. Let's go to second. Pop the clutch. Doing 20. Let's go to third. Release the clutch. Alright, fourth. Woo! Alright, she's sensitive. Didn't like that. Either way, turn these lights off. That's annoying. Either way, we just saw it goes through all its gears. The clutch was releasing. I did look out here and see that was spinning. This wasn't spinning, but the hub was spinning. And all its gears. So maybe we're lucky. Someone said it could be the slave cylinder, and I checked that as well. We've got, here, let me try to show you this. Look at this. We've got a hole right here in the back of our reservoir. Like maybe it sat and mice got into it. I don't know. That probably killed them. We're getting it together. Hopefully I can get this on here, get coolant in it, and check it for leaks. I'm going to refill the AC system, and yeah, keep moving forward. Lots of stuff to do on this car. It's got to be cleaned, buffed, put together. Transmission, we got coilovers we got to put on it. Still looking for wheels and tires. I want a set of rotiforms or some WCIs, or, you know, that's kind of the look I'm going for. I don't want it to look crazy custom, but just lowered on some nice wheels. Real clean, it should look awesome. So let me try to get this thing together and figure out where these wires go. I figured it out. Got everything hooked up other than this marker light, the little bulb. Must have got hot at some point and it flared out, so I can't fit it in the hole. I gotta figure out what to do there. And I just disconnected the battery because I turned the key on to test the lights and everything. And that auxiliary water pump that we just put in today started running. So I'm assuming that that circulates coolant after the car shuts off to cool the engine. But it ran for like 3 minutes before I shut it off because, one, there's no coolant in there. I don't want that pump to burn up. And I was starting to question whether or not it's actually going to shut off or not. But front end's on, making headway. Waiting on tools tomorrow. We'll come back and see where we get. Midday shenanigans. Waiting on the tools to pull the transmission on that. Today they'll be here. Someone was driving this bus and took that out and ripped the wheel flare off. If you don't know anything about these buses, they're all custom built. There is no website you can go to buy wheel flares or, you know, anything. Stuff breaks, you've got to, you know, apparently before this light got taken off and they replaced it with a smaller one. They painted it with the lights on it, as they did with the wheel flares. So got this rubber molding here. It's just a roll of rubber. Trying to make that work. Gonna have to try to paint this, somehow get a color match. But I've got it on there, and basically they give you a spot here to screw to, a spot down here, and a spot down there. And that damn compressor gets me every time. So basically, you know, you got 3 spots to screw to, and then this is just kind of no man's land out here. It's just fiberglass. You don't have any backing. So I'm taking these things here, shoving them up in behind there. They're about the right width. Pushing this in tight and squeezing that in, drilling a hole, and then I am riveting these to the rubber with that. Basically, I got one in here, so it keeps this from being able to pull out because I've got nothing to fasten to. You know, up here's nice and tight, down here's nice and tight. We've got to figure this out and get it real nice and tight. And then hopefully, you know, it looks better than it did, or does. So the other side looks like this. I don't know if they mangled it, if it came off in one piece, or what it did. But you can see they have it attached the same way. 2 there, 2 there, and 2 there. These things get ripped off more than you know. A couple hours later, tools still aren't here. You can see there's a little gap there, but overall it looks good. I went ahead and followed the whole Herculiner. They put Herculiner on the bottom of all their buses, and it protects them from rocks and whatever. So I continued with the whole theme, so it shouldn't stand out like a sore thumb. And it also works as, like, see how I jam it in the crack there? This stuff is indestructible. It will glue that piece of rubber on there like nothing else. So once I peel the tape, it'll look nice and uniform, and should look pretty good. And it's gonna stay on there. The rivets and the angle did help, but it just wasn't, you could still move it. So this way, I don't think you can move it. Hopefully that doesn't fly off on the highway. Did I mention in the last video that this car smells like cigarette butts and diapers? Not kidding. It's bad inside there. This car sat, I know it sat for at least a year before the kid bought it. I'm thinking problems with the clutch, car sat, they were gonna fix it, never fixed it, decided to sell it. Well, it sat with cigarette butts on the floor. So right now, I've got the old ozone machine in there. I'm gonna let it run for about 35 minutes. We'll see what it does. Hopefully It neutralizes the smell. I've used this in other cars before, and I guess no smell has a smell because there's always a distinct smell. It's not a stink, or it's not a, but there's a distinct smell of ozone machine afterwards. And I swear I'm the only one that smells it, because everyone else is like, I don't smell anything, but I definitely smell it. So we'll see. Hopefully it gets better than what it is right now. 3.5 hours later, we've got the CV shafts out. You see that little guard that goes above it? You can't take the CV out unless you gotta pull the arms out, so you can pull this out so the CV comes out. We pulled the struts because we're putting coils in it anyway, and nothing wanted to come apart. But the triple squares came in clutch. So we've got that side. We've got this side, same thing. Basically, you got to pull all that out just to get the CV out, just to start unbolting the transmission. So 3.5 hours in, and now we're actually going to start working on the transmission. I've got to try to figure out how to get this little shield out of here. One of the Allens was wanting to spin, so I'm figuring that out, but making headway. This thing does not want to come apart. You can see we had a ripped boot, so we're buying a new one of those, and it's coming slowly. I've managed to make it all the way around the bell housing. I left 2 bolts in so that I can get the tranny jack underneath it. Slave cylinder's out up there. I am trying to figure out how to get the shift linkage off. Let me show you that. Right there, I've got a shift linkage, which I painted because it slides on. I can get my hand in there. There's a bolt that goes in right there, and it slides on this shaft. I didn't know if it was adjustable in and out, so I just sprayed it with paint so I can see where it was to begin with. And then I have this one here. It takes a Torx, but there's not enough room to get a Torx in there to get it off. This is the last thing I gotta do. I can take the last 2 bell housing bolts off, and I can get this transmission out. I want to see what this clutch looks like. My slave cylinder did not look healthy. When I pulled that, the boot came off of it, and yeah, I don't know where the arm went. The arm is somewhere. I'm gonna have to find it. But there's all my bell housing bolts. There's all my little bracket stuff on the left side of the, oh, there's the arm. The arm came right out. I don't know if it's supposed to do that or not. And I knew this whole time it could have been a slave cylinder, but the clutch felt so good that, you know, usually your slave cylinder will make your clutch feel really soft or not, you know. This clutch felt like a really nice clutch. So we're pulling the tranny, and maybe it was a slave cylinder. I'll let you know, but I'm thinking this clutch is broken in pieces in here. I mean, look at this shifter linkage. I literally had to take the bit out of my Torx socket just to fit it in there and run it out with an 8mm wrench. And look at, it's hitting the wall. I've lowered it 3 inches so far to try to get that thing out, and every time I back it out, it hits the wall, I lower it more and more, to the point where it's putting so much stress on this arm that I'm scared it's gonna butter up the threads. Like, why do European people do this crap? It makes no sense to me. I'll keep plugging away. Hopefully I don't mess it up. Well, I'd say we found our issue. Is that clutch material? Or is that a mouse nest? I can't really see up in there yet, but if you look at the bottom of this thing, can't really see the inside of it, but I can see all these fibers hanging out of it. Check out the bottom. Look at that clutch disc inside there. I'd say there's nothing left of it. Seriously though, is this a mouse nest? Or is this clutch material? Am I gonna find a dead chewed up mouse? See, that's what was banging around in there. What the frick? Let me get something else to root around in here with. There was a mouse nest inside here. Man, that was one unhappy mouse when the car started. What's this? Little ring. I mean, this thing's got to come apart and get cleaned. Wow. Alright, well, I'd say we're on the right track. Transmission's out for the day. Look at this ring around here. Man, it got banged up. Look at that. What is that? That's a piece of metal stuck in the aluminum. I don't know if I can get you close enough or not, but check this out. That piece of metal is stuck inside the casing. Let's see if I can get it out. It's a shard that went straight in that way. It's in there about an inch. Well, half inch. Gosh almighty. That had to have been a massive bang when that happened. They knew they had issues. Well, halfway there. So I got to this top bolt. One of these two, I think it was this one. And I didn't know it was there, and I was trying to wiggle this thing out. It wouldn't move. And I found this bolt. Well, the heater core line comes out and elbows right in front of it. You couldn't get a wrench on it from the top. It was in the way to get a socket. So I managed to get up in there with a long pick, pull the metal clip, and pry it off. I can pretty much almost say this bolt might not go back in. I like to try to get them all in, but I don't know how I'm going to get that heater core hose on and clipped after I bolt that. I'll have to think about it. But it's getting late. I'm heading home. I want to get out of here. Maybe we could pull this clutch off just to see what we got. We're this close. Let me get the 8mm and we'll take this off. I don't know how much light is in that shot, but damn light. I almost don't want to touch it. Should come right off. Maybe. Did I miss one? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Oh, that's gross. What the hell? Well, pieces are coming out. There it is. Holy shit. There's my flywheel. Got a rough spot there, but not where the clutch touches. I'll hit that, clean it up, but that's overall not too bad. Check this out. Look at that clutch. So that little ring was one of those rivets that I found. Even better. Look at this. Now I know what that big bang was. Literally, when I heard it, that's why I decided to do the timing belt, because I was afraid that if the timing belt hadn't been done and it went through that huge bang, that it had to have hurt it in a way. So that's one of the reasons I chose to do the timing belt on this. But this clutch is exploded. All right, well, it needed a clutch. Oh boy. All right, now I'm satisfied. Thanks for hanging with me while we're working on this. Am I the only one that thinks Audis and VWs are nightmares to work on? But I love them so much. The Mark IV Jetta is my absolute, one of my favorite cars. I love the way they look. I mean, they just, you lower them, put them on wheels, nothing looks like them. The 1.8T engine is amazing, but working on these things is rough. You've got to have small hands and lots of patience. That damn air conditioner gets me every time. Well, I think I made it far enough tonight. Probably gonna head home. Coilovers are in the mail. Still looking for wheels. Cannot find wheels to save my life. I have a sweet set of rotiforms at home in the other Passat, but I don't want to use them because they're going on that Passat. And if I take them, I may not be able to find the wheels I want for that car that we're keeping. So, looking for wheels. Hopefully we come back tomorrow, get this back in. The car's getting closer to done. It's gonna be awesome when it's done. We're gonna be able to post this thing for, honestly, I'm gonna put it up for $4,400. Brand new timing belt, brand new clutch, gonna be a new slave cylinder now, new auxiliary water pump, new suspension. This thing's gonna be clean. It's gonna be awesome. I think we can sell it for a lot of money. We're gonna have less than, I'm gonna be ambitious and say less than 1,800 bucks into this car. Hopefully. Guaranteed less than 2,000. So we sell it for 4. We made 2 grand, happy. All I'm doing is hanging out, working on cars. That's what I like to do anyway. So if you like to flip cars or you wanna learn how to flip cars, subscribe. This is what we do. Make money, have fun working on cars. I'm out of here. Peace.